University of Suffolk Brightspace tutorials. Using the HTML editor. Most of the time that you're adding content into Brightspace, you'll be using the HTML editor, which looks like this. You'll see it in all sorts of places, such as adding descriptions, creating the main learning content, giving feedback, writing announcements, and so on. It's technically what we call a WYSIWYG editor, which stands for what you see is what you get. So the content will appear very similarly to how it appears as you put it in there. The reason it's called the HTML editor is that you can also directly edit the HTML by clicking the Source Editor button if you have a bit of expertise in that field. I'll take you on a tour of what you can do with it. To do that, I'm going to create a file and select one of our HTML templates. As you can see, the HTML editor is already here. There are broadly three areas to the HTML editor. First, inputting things. This is where you can insert a range of content, which we'll look at in detail in a second. Secondly, formatting text. The options here are broadly similar to many text editors that you'll be familiar with. The More Options button in the top right will allow you to input tables or equations. Thirdly, the reviewing and displaying options. We'll talk about these towards the end of this video. Depending on where the HTML editor appears, you might not have all of these options, but this is what it looks like when you're editing a topic. The most complex part is the set of options for inserting objects into your page, because there's a lot you can do here. So working from left to right, you first have the Insert Stuff button. If you choose My Computer, what it will generally do is upload the file into the Manage Files area of the module and put a link in the text. Selecting Course Offering Files will do something similar. I'd ignore the ePortfolio option, as this isn't the best place to put things that you want others to see. You can record and add a video note. We talk more about this in our materials on adding videos to your module. If you've already recorded a video note, you can search for it and put it in the page. You can also search for a YouTube video and put that in. It doesn't let you control the size of the video at this stage, but if you're feeling bold, this can be edited in the HTML itself. You can add a photo from Flickr. You can also add a link here, but I will show you a better way to do this in a minute. Finally, an embed code can be entered. This is a piece of HTML that you get from another site to display part of their page, such as a video or an interactive piece of content, in your page. Next, you can insert an image. The first option is to do so from your device. This will prompt you to choose the file and choose where in Manage Files that it will be stored. I like to put all of the images in their own folder. You can then click Add. Remember, adding alternative text is required by the government accessibility legislation. Going back to the Insert Image button, you can also add directly from a URL. This isn't a good idea unless you manage the website that the URL is coming from. Otherwise, the file could be moved or renamed and will prompt an error. Finally, you can add images that you've already uploaded by selecting Course Offering Files. I'll add one that I put in there earlier. Next is your option to add a link. What's great about this is that you can link to almost any other tool or piece of content in Brightspace. That includes other topics, discussions, assignments, and so on. You can link to files in Google Drive or OneDrive. If you need to link to another website, select URL. Then just enter the URL and the title, which is the text that will be displayed. You have a couple of other options via a drop-down menu. The most useful is the Insert Symbol option, which makes it a bit easier to put in special characters or accents. Next, you have all of your formatting options. Here you have the usual choices for bold, italic and so on. You get a couple of other options by clicking the drop-down arrow. The same is true for alignment. You can change the typeface and font size, but we would recommend sticking to those used in the templates to ensure that your material still conforms with accessibility legislation. Clicking the three dots gives you a few more options for adding tables or equations, as well as undoing, redoing, and so on. Finally, in the bottom right, you have your reviewing options. There is a spell check, an accessibility checker, the source editor button, a preview, and the option to toggle editing in full screen. That covers it. As ever, the best way to get to grips with it is to open up your Sandbox module and play around with the options available to you. For more information about Brightspace, visit our LibGuides pages on libguides.us.ac.uk/Brightspace. Here you'll find details about support or training, what to do if you have specific questions, as well as a range of tutorials and FAQs.